Welcome back to my YouTube channel. That's Danila Bracaglia, professional guide and historian of Montecassino. Today we continue with the story of the men of the 34th Division and their involvement in the Battle of Montecassino. I want you to learn today a story that is particularly moving, and it's about a young soldier from Indiana who came to Montecassino to fight, to serve his country, and he died. He was only 20 years old, and I learned his story directly from his great nephew, Kerry House, who came and booked one of my battlefield tours in 2016. He sent me all the information prior to the tour. He's a history teacher, always been devoted to the story of his great uncle. And we follow exactly the footsteps until the last hours of Worth in Montecassino. But who was Worth? Why did he came? Why did he join the war? Why he volunteered? I want you to know directly from the words of his great nephew.
I've thought about the fallen hero that rests here, Private First Class Worth Jackson, for most of my life. As I was growing up, a picture of this cross was hanging very proudly in my grandfather's office on his farm. I, along with my brothers and sister and my cousins, must have asked my grandfather the same questions every time we would visit. Who was he? What happened? How did he die? My grandfather was always patient with us. I think he was honored that we were interested, but his answers were always the same because he knew so little. He was killed in Italy during World War II. Our family has received very little information on his death, and he was my little brother. Worth Jackson grew up in the small, central Indiana farming community of Markville. He was the youngest son in a family of 8 children, born to Herschel and Marie Jackson. Worth was handsome, quiet, and modest. Like most Hoosiers, he loved the game of basketball and starred on his high school team. Though he was just a freshman in high school when Pearl Harbor was attacked, he wanted to enlist right away, but had to wait anxiously for 2 long years, watching as his older brothers and friends were called into service. Finally, with 2 months of his senior year remaining, Worth received his draft notice. Worth was awarded his diploma early, and he was off to serve. He arrived in North Africa at the end of November 1943 and spent the next 2 months in replacement regiments waiting for his combat assignment. On January 17, 1944, Worth Jackson received what he had been waiting for the past 2.5 years, the chance to fight for his country when he was assigned to the 168th Infantry Regiment of the 34th Division here in Italy. What followed the next several weeks was some of the most intense fighting of the Second World War. The regiment encountered flooded fields, landmines, barbed wire, interlocking machine gun fire, deadly accurate mortars, rockets, and artillery as they pushed toward the hills at the base of Montecassino. On the evening of February 4th, Worth's platoon was sent out on patrol forward of the American lines. Their mission was to locate enemy machine gun and mortar positions. While on patrol, the platoon encountered a larger German force and was subjected to heavy machine gun and rifle fire. The platoon dispersed and returned fire but was quickly surrounded. Only 6 men returned from the patrol. 9 were captured and 13, including Worth, were killed. On March 1st, with 3 sons serving in the military, a War Department official delivered Marie and Herschel Jackson a telegram informing the family that Worth was missing in action. The second telegram was received several months later, confirming the death of their youngest son. Worth's parents were given the choice of having their son return to the family in Indiana or remain in Italy. His mother wrote in a letter, "It is our desire for his remains to be left abroad. as we feel that would be his wish. He is now where he so wanted to be. Uncle Worth, I've known my entire life that you were a hero, that you served bravely and were loved by your family. It's been a lifelong dream, my privilege, and an honor finally getting to know you, finding the answers to those childhood questions, and understanding your sacrifice.
I understand his sacrifice. I won't forget Worth, nor his great nephew, Carrie, especially because he impressed me so much with the devotion for his great uncle, and from the fact that he spent his birthday cleaning the graves at the Sicily-Rome American Cemetery in Nettuno. Worth was sent first to North Africa, arriving in Oran on November 24, 1943. Jackson was assigned to several different replacement regiments during the next 2 months without seeing any combat. On January 17, 1944, Jackson joined the 168th Infantry Regiment of the 34th Division. Along with 400 other replacement soldiers, spent a week training near the front line in battle conditions and methods particular to the Italian campaign. After this training, Jackson and the others were ready for combat and were sent to a front line foxholes near San Michele. Directly in front of the 168th Infantry Regiment were the German defensive position known as the Gustav Line, designed to help the Allied advance north to Rome. Jackson could see the abbey high up in the mountain directly in front of his foxhole position. Montecassino gave German artillery spotters excellent observation of all Allied troop movements. As direct assault on the abbey were underway, the 168th Infantry Regiment was ordered to attack the Gustav Line to the north and then move on Montecassino from the rear. On January 26, 1944, the 168th Infantry Regiment crossed the Rapido River that was flooded and began their assault on the Gustav Line. The regiment encountered flooded fields, landmines, barbed wire, interlocking machine gun fire, and deadly accurate mortar, rocket, and artillery fire as they moved toward the hills at the base of Montecassino. Over the next several days, Worth and the 168th Infantry Regiment captured key positions in the drive toward the Abbey, including Hill 56 and 213 and the town of Caira. On February 3rd, several companies of the 168th Infantry Regiment moved toward the town of Terelle. On February 4, 1944, Worth's platoon was sent out on patrol in advance of the American lines. Their mission was to locate enemy machine gun and mortars position. The platoon encountered a German patrol and they were subjected to heavy machine gun and rifle fire. Worth's platoon dispersed and returned fire, but the enemy brought up reserve troops and Jackson's platoon was surrounded. Only 6 men returned from the patrol. 9 were captured and 13, including Worth, were killed. If I imagine an angel, he has the eyes of Worth. May he rest in peace, and his memory alive among us. The most meaningful part of my job is to help the relatives, the children of the veterans, to connect with this painful part of their life and to reach a closure. Thank you, Carrie, to have shared your family history with us. We will remember Worth. We will remember his sacrifice. you.